Considering for sale by owner versus realtor or hiring a realtor? That's our topic today. Let's get started right after this. Hi, I'm Kim Ward. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a real estate broker in San Diego, California, and an expert at helping executors, administrators, and trustees with homes in probate or trust. Are you wondering about the difference between for sale by owner versus realtor? Are you considering hiring a realtor? My husband Dave and I are do-it-yourselfers. We like to learn all kinds of things and do them ourselves. So I understand and respect that mindset. Now, there are a few things, no matter what, we team up with a professional. For instance, we hired an attorney to draft up our trust. We have a CPA to do our yearly taxes. We recently hired an electrician to hook up the service for our daughter Ashley and her husband Ray's home that they just purchased. That was a fixer. We hired an electrician to hook up that electrical to the box and to San Diego Gas and Electric, primarily because we don't want to be shocked. And in these cases, we don't know what we don't know. So we defer to a professional who has the experience and skill to get us from where we are to where we want to be. And the electrical is all hooked up. Dave and I choose to get help when the mistake that we might make could be truly damaging. You know, if we don't do our taxes correctly, there's going to be consequences that we don't want to deal with. And in the case of hiring an electrician, it was the right move, right? So I'm going to cover 5 reasons when you're considering selling a property on your own. Now, for sale by owner situations are typically in a seller's market, which we are in a seller's market right now. And selling a house for sale by owner sounds like a good idea because you get to keep all the money. But is it really? That's what we're going to cover. The first thing is you want to consider when you're selling a house all on your own, you're going to be doing the negotiating yourself. Plus relying on your own skill to properly know which documents to complete and to get them completed accurately, because you don't want to be open to legal problems. So here are the top reasons that doing a for sale by owner can really cause some major headaches for you. Number 1, marketing the house online isn't as easy as you would think. Today's home buyers are starting their search online. And it's important that your property be on all the sites so that buyers can find it. And it is not as easy for a for sale by owner to be on all the top sites that buyers are looking at in order to market the home. Sticking a sign in the yard and doing some DIY marketing probably won't get you the result that you want. Keep in mind that if they can't find it, they can't buy it. On that note, let's talk a little bit about buyer viewings. Taking the phone calls that come in, doing the scheduling, and doing the follow-up to see if the buyer is interested and getting that feedback from the buyer is time-consuming. And what you'll discover is there's a lot of looky-loos, and you'll be dealing with all kinds of personalities. Now, because you're watching this, most likely you're involved in a probate, maybe a trust, and in the situation of a probate, your name is now public. Your attorney had to make it public in order to start the probate process. So that's why you're getting many pieces of mail and loads of phone calls from investors and perhaps real estate agents. Now, the investors will be offering you cash sight unseen until you get under contract. Then experience shows once they get inside the house, they're going to say, oh, I didn't know it needs a new kitchen, or the flooring is very dated. I once was meeting with a seller, and at the same time an investor, he had made an appointment with an investor who showed up late, but he allowed him to come inside the house, and the investor actually said, you told me this was move-in ready. This is not move-in ready, and really went after this seller. And I was shocked because it was quite rude. Now, that's not a typical scenario, but what I'm trying to share with you is that when someone offers sight unseen a price, that doesn't mean that that's going to be the price that they're going to purchase the property for. In most cases, they're going to look at the property and then the price is going to be adjusted, and I don't mean up. Okay, let's move on to number 2, preparing the paperwork. It can be tricky and you'll be drowning in paperwork. Unless you have a background in contracts and law, this may be outside of your experience and it can be very tricky. Knowing all the little details that will protect you and the estate now and in the future is important. Like, for instance, if a house is built before 1978, you're going to need a lead-based paint disclosure. Here in San Diego, we have disclosures about smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, having low-flow toilets and faucets, and we even have a natural hazard disclosure telling your buyer about the particular area around the subject property. It's important that these things be completed, signed by both you and the buyer, and that way you're protected. And there's many other disclosures. This is just a little taste. And also, it's really important that you are aware of what needs to be disclosed about the property, things that you are aware of, and how they have to be disclosed. I'll tell you a quick story. Anita contacted me. This was a few years back. She and I met. We talked about me helping her to sell the house, but then she decided to do a for sale by owner. 6 months later, I got a phone call from Anita that she was now being sued by the buyer because the buyer had discovered standing water around the house. Now, we're in San Diego. There isn't that much water, but I guess when it rained, water would puddle. And Anita didn't know what she didn't know, and she didn't disclose this to the buyer. Now, if she had had a professional, perhaps she would have disclosed it to the buyer. And experience shows that when buyers are excited about purchasing a property, they will pretty much sign off on things such as standing water. But in Anita's case, 6 months went by, it rained, and there was the water. Apparently, the buyers got themselves an attorney who helped them to get a large sum from Anita to cover the item that she didn't disclose. Almost every house has some type of defect that needs to be addressed and disclosed to the buyer, and that's why it's important that you have someone who has that experience to guide you through disclosing those items. Number 3 is pricing. For sale by owner homes could be priced wrong. Real estate agents have at their disposal all the information about homes that have sold. And what I do for my sellers when I come for the first meeting, the initial consultation, is I research properties within half a mile of the subject property and approximately the same size. Then I do deeper research to look at condition of the sold properties. That way, once I meet with the seller, we really talk about the subject property based on the homes that have recently sold in the area. That's how we get a pinpoint price. Referring to Zillow or even realtor.com, any of those online sites is a good first step, but you really need to drill down to get an accurate price so that the house is priced appropriately for the current marketplace and for the current condition of the home. That way, it will sell quickly for the best price and terms. Number 4 is underestimating or overestimating the repairs that need to be done to get the best price and terms for the house, or doing things that you don't need to do in order to get a good price for the home. Now, I believe in cost-effective repairs. If the house has some deferred maintenance, such as a dated paint color, very old flooring, maybe even lighting, and even sometimes the knobs, the hardware on cabinets can be updated very cost-effectively and bring a much better result. I've heard of some people redoing entire kitchens when perhaps just painting the cabinets and changing the hardware could have sufficed and still obtained the great result of selling the house. And the last thing to touch on under this subject is knowing what buyers want to see. So having someone who is an expert who does this every day to guide you as to colors and proper finishes is crucial and may save you a lot of money. And number 5 is showings of the property may be a drag. When you choose to team up with a professional real estate advisor, they're going to handle all those showings and make sure that buyers get into the property and they follow up with their agents to see what the buyers thought. Get that feedback so that if some adjustments need to be made as to either condition or price, we'll know up front quickly so that we can make that change quickly. Now, you may live hundreds of miles away, maybe even thousands of miles away, so it's important that you have someone that you know, like, and trust to get the job done for you and help you to press the easy button. I hope you found this of value. If you did, go ahead and like the video and leave your comments or questions below, or just reach out to me if you have a question. And subscribe, and if you want to be notified of my weekly videos and you wouldn't want to miss any of them, go ahead and hit that bell button. That way you'll get an email letting you know that we have a new video. Thank you. Hope you have a wonderful week.